Firstly, I decided to work on something different to everybody else at art school, and that was the thing I could afford being a poor student, which is butcher's paper. This has proved to be quite successful in regards to last year I won an award, and they said it was very much due to the butcher's paper. Because it was non-archival rather than archival, and it had a fragility about it. Which, you know, most people would know me like I don't mind a tear or a crease or whatever, and very rarely frame my work. Yeah, certainly my works are all, every time I work I do a different change. I'm big on change, whether it's my look every day or my art every day. And yes, like Picasso famously said, my paintings are my autobiography of my life. So each painting is a part of his autobiography. So I really related to that. Obviously inspired by many artists. It's about, I was taught at art school that you can never do anything different, that there will never be anything you can do that hasn't been done. And I went, watch this space. Okay, so yes, I have to say I'm very experimental in the way I work. I use the environment, I leave paintings outside and allow a storm, I dance on them, bring them in, scrape them back, tear them up, put them back together. So I really like the freedom in that. And yeah, just like I said, pages in a diary for me is how I do my art.
One of these works was similar to this work, actually won the inaugural King and Woods Madison Contemporary Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Art Prize, the $25,000 prize. So it's quite it's a huge honor to have won that. So I think it's also required by the sister firm that sponsored the art prize, King and Wood Madison, and also one of the sister partners also required one of the works. So it must be really rewarding for that to happen for you.
It's kind of unbelievable, given that this particular art prize, you had to be invited to go in it to start with. Then you had to be selected, and then if you're selected, you go in the art award. And I was up against very big names, people that I've looked up to for years, Richard Bell, Tony Albert, of the likes of, especially a lot of Aboriginal men works. And I really was shocked to even get in it. I didn't think, I thought, look, I'd be lucky to get third prize, which was $5,000. And if I got that, I'd be stoked. So it was funny, the day that I won the prize, I'd actually gone round to my dear friend here, Johnny's, and I literally had no money. I had like $2.50 to my name, which is ironic that I got to his house going, I can't even buy chips with this money. You know, like I'm so broke I can't eat. And then got a phone call by John Mundine, who is the patron of the award, going, you just won. I'm like, no, what? You just won $25,000 compared to $2.50. It was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, the art prize was actually judged by a panel of 3 judges, and they all sort of renowned people in the art industry. There's Vernon McKee, the Aboriginal artist, Carol Pinchback, who's the curator of Aboriginal art at New South Wales Art Gallery, and also Shani Jones, who's the curator of Aboriginal art or the manager of Aboriginal art at the Australian Museum. So it's quite an honour to have achieved that. So you mentioned John Mundine just then, and I believe that you have done quite a few projects with him, including Samantha, and you had a show at the Lismore Regional Gallery. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, and I also recently had a solo show at Manly Art Gallery Museum. John has become he's my friend and often curates me, but he also supports me, whether he curates me or not. He often just comes to things and supports my work, and he's done that since I was at uni. We're both at COFA together at the same time. He was doing his PhD and I was doing my undergrad Bachelor of Arts. So that's where we met, and then just a kindred spirit, I guess. It's really nice to have that friendship there and that support from him. Doesn't mean I don't work with other people, but it just so happens that I've done 4 or 5 shows now with John curating me, which is great because he's a senior knowledge man, Bundjalung man, and he's really great to work with.
So you also have something coming up at Candos, is that right? In Cementa?
Yes, Cementa, it's an arts festival that's in Candos, and I'm wearing in these images what's known as a sorry cap. And what happened in the 1800s was Barkindji women, not so much the men, but the women, in grieving when they lost a child or husband or they were all murdered or whatever, would put on a cap of clay, and depending on the weight of their grief, they'd do the weight of the clay, sometimes up to 7 kilos until they bled. And these women would sit and wear these caps, which are called kopis, K-O-P-I, and the kopi would stay on the head, and sometimes 3 months, 6 months, until that loss, that deep pain and grief was out of their body. Because gypsum has a drawing effect, it actually draws out stuff, so hence it being a great thing on the head to get stuff out, I guess. So what interested me about doing work with kopi on my head was that they then, once they're finished grieving, take it off their head and then go over to the grave and make a mound of those caps. And those caps then break down and go back into the earth. So I thought that was a really incredible cycle of a way of dealing with grief in a way that possibly other people don't, you know. And that was one of the things that when Mitchell was doing his survey down the River Darling, he saw these white balls on the edge of the river and didn't know what they were. He thought they were from outer space or something. And what they were these kopis. And they're very much like a cap. They're not a hat, they're a cap. So I got fascinated with that as a way of speaking about what I have, which is intergenerational pain. Nana being removed and Dad being stolen essentially leaves you sort of without a lot of family. So that was the basis of that series, was sorrow. But sorry, you asked me about candles. What I was going to be doing there was applying one of these live and doing a performance. But very sadly, the lady I was doing it on died last week. I'm not quite sure now what the work is that I'm going to be doing up there. I have made a kopi of her head, and it's wild because she gave me a hat for my head and I made a kopi for hers, and we became very close friends before she died. She is the traditional owner and had just got native title for Candos for that area, and had worked on that her whole life and had just got it and then passed away. So I'm now thinking, you know, I'm going through different ideas about how I can honour her, and it might just be that I put one of these caps on a chair or something, you know, or on her daughter's head, because it's about, obviously it's about loss and grieving, but I'm not sure if her daughter's up to that either. So I'm in a little bit of a, you know, where we're going with Cementa, but I've got lots of ideas. I'll work it out.
yes. I think you should still go. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I am.
Yes,
Yeah.
good. You obviously, yeah, you obviously is very interesting person, and so because of that, I think you've been being a sitter for portraits. Maybe you can let everyone know about that.
I was blown away when Susan over here, O'Doherty, asked to do my portrait. No one ever has before, and I was kind of perplexed as to why someone would want to do my portrait. But it was such a really great process to have you paint my portrait, and it was accepted into the Portrait each prize, is it Memorial Prize? Yeah, Memorial Prize, which is very much a women's thing. Like it was women painting women, essentially. I think one painting was of Badger Bates, who's sort of one of the only guys in there, but essentially it was all women painting women, and that was a really great experience. I was just chuffed to be asked, let alone getting selected and hung in that. That I'm actually, someone that's worth hanging on a wall. And now I'm even more, I'm just like blown away that I also have a fantastic artist over here, Janice Lander, who's a brilliant portrait artist as well, who's now just started doing my portrait this week. And that's just wonderful. We're going through the process of, doing studies and, how you want to come across, how you want to look, what colours you're going to wear. All of those things are so important in a portrait, I'm not really a portrait painter, as most people can see. I do myself. Generally, I do self-portraits. Or actually, always, I do self-portraits. So for someone else to do my portrait is a real buzz. Yeah. So thank you, ladies.